Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I am real excited because I've got something for the shop that we've been wanting to get for a long time, and that is air conditioning. So for you, those of you guys out there that don't regularly follow my YouTube channel and know much about me, I have got a pretty good sized shop here that I built about 3 years ago. Total size of the shop is 42 feet wide, 80 foot long. I have it divided into two different areas. One is for metalworking, one is for woodworking. Today we're going to be installing this air conditioning unit in just one half of the shop to kind of get this area cooled down. Now I live in South Georgia. We're about 60 miles north of the Florida line. It gets hot and humid down here in the southeastern US. In fact, I'm shooting this video today. It's April 13th, I think. And we're already expected to go up to over 85 degrees today. Here in another month, it's going to be unbearably hot to come out here and work in the shop, which is why I'm really excited about getting some cooling going on. Now, the unit we're installing, this is a MRCOOL 36,000 BTU mini split unit, and it is a do-it-yourself installation kit. Usually when you do a mini split unit, you have to hire a professional person to come out and do it because they have to do all the charging of the lines and so forth. This kit here has everything pre-charged, and it is pretty much plug and play. You can do this on your own. And today, we're going to be shooting a video of us installing this unit. Everything was delivered by LTL carrier, basically a big truck. They had it on a drop lift gate so they could bring it here to the house. And we were able to basically bring it in. I had a pallet jack, so we were able to just roll this right into the shop. And first thing I want to do is go ahead and start unloading or unpacking this. And what I'm after, believe it or not, hard to admit, but I'm looking for the instructions, because we want to make sure we're following the instructions and doing this like we're supposed to. So let's do some unpacking. See what all we got. All right, this box is just a cover box. Looks like we have a box inside of a box. And this looks like the wall unit that we'll be mounting up on the wall. All right, I found the instructions. They were down up underneath the wall unit down there. And it looks like they've got some other little small things in here, remote control and some little hardware. So anyway, we'll figure all this out. But first thing I want to do is get the installation instructions out and study this up real good. Right here, the installation manual, and make sure that we're going to be doing this correctly. I took the opportunity to read through and study my instruction guide first, and I think we're ready to go ahead and get started on this project now. So first thing we need to do is mount the indoor unit on the wall, and there's a mounting plate, and it is actually on the bottom side of this unit. So I'm just going to carefully roll this over, and we will take a Phillips head screwdriver. There's just one screw kind of holding this in place. This screw is just to literally hold it in place for shipping. But we will take that off, and there's this metal plate that comes off the bottom, and this is what we're going to mount on the wall. Putting up the back plate for the wall unit now, and I've already put a single screw up here to just kind of let this hang on while I attach it to the wall. According to the instructions, I need my the bottom of the air unit or the wall unit to be about 90½ inches off the floor. I've already measured that. Now I've got 10-foot ceilings in my shop. If you have less than that, if you have less than, I think it's 8 or 9 feet, they give you a different measurement, but I'm going with the one for taller measurements here. Next thing I want to do is I want to check this for level. So I'm going to put a level across the top. We want to make sure that this thing is nice and level so that it's not going to be crooked and driving you crazy looking at it. And I'm going to get another screw here, double check that, and we'll go ahead and put some screws in here holding it to the wall. You want to make sure you're screwing into an area where you're going to get good solid contact. And I happen to know right here that I've got a stud right behind that, so that should be good and strong. And I'm going to put probably 4 screws in here around the outside of it and get this securely attached to the wall. Next step here is we need to drill a hole through the wall, and there's going to be some piping, there's going to be some electrical cables, some coolant cables that has to go outside to the compressor, and we need to drill a 3.5-inch hole here with a hole saw. And the instructions tell you, depending on which model you use, it's going to be in a different place. You can actually mount it on the left or right side. I'm going to mount it on this side on this particular one, and it tells me where I need to put it at. So we're going to put the center of that hole about right there. Let me get my drill out. We're going to drill again a 3.5-inch hole through the wall, and I made sure that I'm not on top of a stud or anything here when I chose my place to mount this. I've got a stud here and I've got a stud here. I can tell because I know I've got nail holes in the wall where we nailed the paneling up. You may need to use a stud finder to find that. But that hole does need to go through, and it does need to be pointed downward just a little bit. So you want the back side of it to be about 1/4 of an inch lower than the front side, and that is because there's going to be a drainage line that comes out of here. You'll get condensation in this unit, and you want it to be able to properly drain. So let me get my hole saw set up, and we'll drill this hole. I got my mark right here. I'm going to put my center of my drill bit of the hole saw on that. That will become the pilot. Just verifying I'm in the right spot. And we will when drilling with a hole saw, you got to make sure you're engaging equally pressure all the way around the diameter of the saw, or it's going to give you a hard time. So we got that done now. There is insulation behind this, so I'm kind of moving that out of the way. I'm on the outside of the shop now, and what I did was I drilled a hole clear through the wall, and I marked the center hole height using the drill bit in this on the inside, and I measured down 1/4 of an inch and drilled all the way through. So that'll assure me that my hole is 1/4 of an inch below it, and we'll just come in here. We'll use that hole that we drilled as a pilot hole, and come in here, drill this hole through here. So now we have our 2 holes. One is just a little bit below the other one, just like the instructions call for. With the hole all the way through the wall now, I want to go ahead and put this little plastic bundle here that goes through. This just kind of gives everything a channel to go through. And let's get everything lined up. We got that all the way through the wall now, and that'll give us a nice channel for that piping to go down through. So now we're going to go ahead and feed through our line here. So we've got a bundle here that's in kind of a rubber sleeve, and it has the power cable, it has refrigerant cords, everything in here we need. We're going to feed this just through the hole and go ahead and get it coming out the other side. Now there's also a drainage line we're going to have to put through, but I'm going to do that in a minute. I want that to be on the bottom of this bundle so that it's draining properly. You want the water to be at the lowest possible level. So let me go ahead and feed this through. And now I've got my drainage line. I'm going to make sure, again, it is on the bottom of that whole bundle. We want to make sure that it's going to drain properly, and I'll feed it through as well. As you can see, we've got the unit kind of hanging up here on the top now, and I'm feeding the rest of this bundle through the wall. Well, that took a little bit of work, but we got it up here. It's been a lot easier if I'd had somebody out here helping me, but I'm out here doing it solo. So guys, the trick to this is you got that tubing in back there behind it, and it's kind of a hard piping back there. You have to kind of shape it and bend it where it will fit back into that recess, and then have another bend to go out the hole over here. And then this whole thing, it clips on 3 pivot points in the top, and it kind of just folds down, and there's 2 little plastic clips down here up underneath the bottom, and when it goes in just right, it clips into place, and it's held firmly up against the wall. So anyway, it took a little bit of work, but we got it up there. Let's go get the compressor installed. Now on the outside of the building, we've already got the compressor out here. It's on a little concrete pad. It's already mounted. Now I came in, we just put out a little concrete form. I poured this with just some bags of concrete. Took about 4 bags of concrete, smoothed it off, let it dry good. We came in here, we put some lag bolts in here, to clamp everything down. I just measured where they needed to go, drilled it out with a concrete drill, a hammer drill, and got this sitting here on the pad. Our pipes and stuff are coming down. We're going to cover this up and make it look a little bit better later on, but right now I've just kind of got it back here. I'll also mention I've already got my electrical work done, and I did that off camera. I'm a little bit reluctant to show electrical work because I'm not a certified electrician, and I will say that if you know how to do your own wiring, that's great. Do it. This unit here, you need to look at your unit to see how much power it requires. This one here, this is the biggest one, and it requires 35 amps. So I ran a circuit. You can kind of see a line coming down. That's actually my panel on the other side of the wall there, and we ran underground conduit, came over here, came up to a disconnect right here, and I've still got to run a wire over here to actually connect this in place. If you're not comfortable doing your own wiring, I strongly encourage you to employ an electrician to do that for you. Guys, it's not worth burning your house down to save a few bucks. Get your electrical work done right. Now what we're going to do is come in here, we're going to do the connections with the pre-charged lines, and there is a special sequence on doing this to do it properly. So let's get in here and do that. When you first come out here, there's a little box right here covering this up, little cover. I took that off just to make it a little bit easier. Just 2 screws holding it in place. Down here on the ground where I get comfortable. And instructions say to make sure you have your line coming in here where it's not really kinking anything or anything like that. So we will make sure we kind of got everything lined up here. And I think we're probably good. Now there are 2 lines. There's one is larger than the other. It's impossible to hook these up backwards. So make sure you're putting the correct one on, the right one. Also, one has got a gray cap on it. One has a black cap. Now these lines are pre-charged with coolant. Or with the Freon, or whatever you want to call it, the gases in here that make this work. In a professional installed one, these would not be pre-charged. You would have to get an AC tech to come out and actually charge those lines for you. That's the nice thing about this DYI unit. Now there are 2 caps on here. You want to wait to take these caps off until just the last minute, but we can go ahead and remove those protective covers. And the way I understand this is there's a little, when you tighten these down, it basically punctures a little fitting in there that opens that valve up. The instruction says to do the bottom one first. So you want to get these over here, carefully line them up so that you're not cross-threading your screws. And you can tell when they go on. Right there, we are on. You want to do it by hand as far as you can go. Now what you want to do, guys, is you want to hold the bottom part here just using a wrench. These are metric, and I don't have all of these sizes in my metric set, so I'm using an adjustable wrench here. I prefer using actual wrenches. And then you want to come in here and tighten this up all the way. All right, we have tightened those up all the way. We'll do the top two. Same process here. These are a different size though, so it requires different wrenches. And again, they are that way to prevent you from hooking them up incorrectly. You want to do this as quickly as you can. I could actually hear some gas escaping there when you got to a certain point. So you want to do this as quick as you can to make sure that you lose as little gas as possible. It was just kind of right there at the very beginning as it seals up. I don't hear it losing any gas now. All right, and we have everything there plugged in as it should be. Now we need to continue the process of opening these valves up. There's two little covers here that open the valves up to inside the There it goes. It opens the valves up to the inside here. Takes a 5mm socket wrench here, and I want to double check my instructions. I think it said do the bottom one first, but let me verify that. All right, I had that backwards. We're going to do the top valve first. So I can hear the gas going into the unit. It said to open it up completely. And then we'll do the bottom one. Open it up completely and put our covers back on. Well, guys, we got it all installed, and as you can see, hopefully you can see the numbers up there. She is working. So we have this MRCOOL 36,000 BTU Do It Yourself mini split unit all put in. Thoughts after doing the job, guys? You know, I put this thing in totally 100% by myself. I had zero help throughout the day. At least with this larger unit like I have right here, honestly, I would recommend that you have someone in here to help you. It was a little bit challenging, particularly getting the air handler unit up onto the wall and also getting the compressor outside up on the pad by myself. I was able to do it, but it wasn't easy. But definitely need to have some help. All in all though, I will say that it is pretty straightforward, it's pretty simple. There's really nothing too terribly complicated about the entire process. If you can read and follow directions, and you need to read the book, the instructions, and follow the instructions to do it properly, But if you can do that, you should be able to put this unit in. Yeah, I'm kind of a handy guy, but honestly, there really wasn't that much to this, just a minimal amount of tools that were needed and really a minimal amount of skills that were needed. All that I really have left to do is kind of on the outside where the piping and stuff comes down. I need to get all that closed up and mounted up a little bit better. And I've got a kit to do that. I was planning on doing that today. This is actually the day after, and it's raining outside today. So I'm gonna have to wait until another day to get all that stuff put together. But there was a little kit with some plastic molding that goes over that. I'm gonna paint it so it matches the trim on my shop. And I'll probably build a little wooden enclosure to actually put that coiled up hose into where it just looks nice out behind the shop here. All in all, it took pretty much most of the day for me to do this job. It was a full day job, but that also included a couple of trips into town to Lowe's to buy a few little things here and there that I needed, mostly related to the electrical installation, which I really didn't go into a whole lot of detail here. And again, if you're not comfortable doing electrical work, get someone else to do that for you. It's just not worth it. Now that it's in the shop, I can tell you, I turned this thing on a couple of hours ago and let it cool down the shop in here. It's a little bit cooler outside today because it is raining, but when I came in, I opened the door to the shop and it was like, wow. It's really cool in here. We'll see how it does when we get into some warmer, hotter temperatures that we'll be having coming very soon. But I'm quite honestly very optimistic that it's going to do a good job. This area that I've got in here is probably pushing the limits of what this unit is going to be able to adequately control. But again, this is a shop. This is not my house. So even if it can't get it down where I can hang meat in here, it's still going to be good enough. It's going to be a lot better. Now, some of you guys have probably noticed that I've got a window unit back here in this window. And I actually installed that last summer in an attempt to try to cool things off in the shop. That window unit is about a 12,000 BTU unit. The MRCOOL kit that we put in here was 36,000 BTUs. So it's got 3 times the BTUs. And just knowing what I know from that window unit, I really think it's going to be adequate. I think it's going to do what I want for it to do in this shop. Looking forward, I guess, to seeing how that goes down the road. One thing that I can clearly tell that is a big improvement over this window unit is this MRCOOL unit is quiet. It is extremely quiet. Right now I have it in the low mode, but even when I turn it on the turbo mode, which is really turning that fan up, it's really quiet in here. I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone. I'll be quiet just a second. But that's pretty quiet in my, as far as I'm concerned. And I can tell you it is much quieter than this window unit back here ever was. And for someone who is filming a lot in the shop, making YouTube videos, being able to cut down on that noise level is going to be a huge plus for me. Another really cool feature that I'm going to really love about this unit is that it actually has an app that you can use on your smartphone, either an iPhone or an Android phone, where you can control this unit. And while, yes, it comes with the remote control in the shop, this will probably be what I use, but what I'm excited about with this app is that I can control this air conditioning unit literally from any place that I have an internet connection. And for me, that's going to be really big because a lot of times I may be working, I may be away from home, and I say, you know what, when I'm going to get home this afternoon, I'm going to go out there in the shop and I'm going to go to work. So if I know I'm an hour or 2 away from home and I want to turn this air conditioner on to kind of cool things down or bump the temperature down, just pull it up on my app. I can adjust the temperature, I can adjust the fan speed, I can set timers, I can do all kinds of really cool things right here from this app. And again, I can control it from wherever I am. If I go in the house and think, well, I'm going to come back out the shop, leave the air conditioner on, and then don't make it back out to the shop, I can just pull my app open. I can shut this thing down for the night while I'm sitting up in the house instead of having to walk back down here to the shop. Again, I think that's going to be really another nice advantage to this unit. Way better than the window unit I got back here behind me. So with that, I think that's going to be a wrap on this little video, and we'll keep you guys as a regular subscribers to the channel. As we get into the summer months, I'll give you an update on how this thing is doing. But so far, so good. I'm real excited. Check boxes pretty much in everything that I have, what I was looking for a mini split unit to go out here in the shop. Now, I am going to need to put another one in for the back half of the shop at some point in time. So but we're going to give this one a try and make sure it's going to work out good. I'm confident that it will, but we'll probably be getting a second one installed here later this summer. With that, that's going to be a wrap, guys. As always, thank you for watching. If you don't subscribe to my channel and you like seeing work out in a shop, I would encourage you, click on the subscribe button. We got all kinds of cool things we're doing out here at VintageMachinery.org. We're restoring old machinery, we do metalworking, we do woodworking, we do all kinds of things out here in the shop. So if you're not a subscriber to my channel, check out some of my other content. Hopefully you'll like it as well. And with that, we'll catch you next time around. Thanks for watching, guys.